Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw for Insider Travel Report and, of course, virtual roadshows selling cruise vacations. And we're here today with one of our river cruise panels. And you're going to hear from some of the folks who are exhibiting during the show. And also, you're going to find out a lot more about their companies and really how you should be selling them. So we're going to start right away and introduce the folks on this panel. We have, first of all, Marilyn Conroy, who is the you got a new title. That's why I was going to kind of jump on it. Executive Vice President, Business Development for Riviera Travel. And say hi, Marilyn. There you go.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. And then we have Rob Huffman, who's the Director of Field Sales USA for AmaWaterways. And we all know AmaWaterways. How are you doing, Rob?
Doing great, James. Thanks for having us today.
Okay, and then finally, last but not least, I have Stephen Simao, who's Vice President of Sales for Century Cruises, which actually is a new post for him and a new line for me. I've known about him, but of all the folks on this panel, it's the only one I haven't been on, but it looks like a fascinating product. So say hi, Steve.
Hey, James and everyone, and James, we'll have to fix that for you at some point.
Yeah, we're going to work on that one. I definitely want to. I'm very, very interested in doing something like that, and we'll see. So we're going to get started right away. And first of all, I'm going to give each of you a chance to give a brief description of your company and what it offers. Let's start with you, Marilyn, about Riviera Travel.
Okay, thank you, James. Well, Riviera Travel has been in business for 41 years, and we are, in fact, the market leader in river cruising. Nobody outsells us on the rivers in the UK, including the Big V. We started to market proactively over here in North America some 7 years ago, and we've been the fortunate recipient of many wonderful awards and accolades. We recently rebranded to Riviera Travel from Riviera River Cruises because we offer so much more than just river cruising. We now offer air, transfers, hotels, and even grand tours where clients can spend a week on land and a week on a river cruise. So we basically offer everything for one-stop shopping to our clients.
That's fantastic. And I have been on your ships. They're wonderful. And I've actually been on twice. When you first started, I went on as a spy and was saying what it's like, and I gave you a report. And then the next time I went on, it was like incredible. It was the food was great. It was not that it wasn't good to begin with, but it was another step forward. And you've made some major advances.
Major advances in the last couple of years. The product has improved dramatically.
And I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Now let's move to Rob at AmaWaterways. Tell us a little bit about AmaWaterways. A lot of travel advisors think they know AmaWaterways, but maybe you tell us something about what they don't know.
Well, we certainly like to hear that without question. At AmaWaterways, we're celebrating 23 years in business this month. So we're delighted to have that anniversary celebration going on. You know, James, we have 30 ships offering very intimate experiences on the legendary rivers of the world. We sail throughout Europe, Southeast Asia, Africa, Egypt, and we started this April on the Magdalena River in Colombia, South America. The average capacity of our fleet is 150 guests, and we're all about innovation as well. That's truly a cornerstone of our brand and our product. We're always looking for ways to create new experiences for our guests, and we certainly rely on our travel advisors, our travel agency partners, when it comes to selling our product.
Yeah, no, AmaWater is a great company, and I love sailing with Christine and Rudy, and now, and all of your team, Alex and great.
Yeah.
I probably have done more AmaWaterways than any other because they keep inviting me. I don't know why. I haven't done anything to piss them off yet. So,
well, you didn't mention Gary, so I'm hoping you've sailed with Gary.
Gary, I've sailed with Gary. I want to talk about Gary, but Gary is, guys see Gary everywhere. This thing, like, that's great. But no, you got a great team. It's amazing. Now, let's turn to Century Cruises, which, I knew about, it for a while, but I'd never, and Steve, you're fairly new to the company, but you have a great product and a higher level product than I expected from the presentations I recently saw. But tell us a little bit about Century, what it is and where it goes.
Yeah, well, we always hear the phrase elephant in the room. I'm the panda in the room, if you will.
Oh,
We are much like Marilyn and Rob's companies. We've been around for a while. We actually celebrating 36 years this year. But I pretty much guarantee that none of you have heard of us because we are essentially a 36-year-old startup. And what I mean by that is that for our entire history up until the pandemic, we were a white label operator for three other major cruise lines.
right.
And so we saw about 60,000 passengers a year that you, the travel advisor, sent to us, but you didn't know it was us. We were simply the operator behind the scenes.
Mm.
Post pandemic, those cruise lines have decided not to return to China, which is where we operate on the beautiful Yangtze River through the beautiful Three Gorges area. We operate very luxurious, upscale, five-star, eco-friendly, battery-powered ships on the Yangtze River. We are the most modern fleet there. But we had to come out as our own brand. And so we literally have just opened an office in Sunrise, Florida. I am one of the first few folks that they've hired in North America. And so we're kind of coming out as ourselves. And then the last thing I just share with you is much like Marilyn also said, we actually function as a tour operator as well as a cruise line because candidly, no one's going to go to China and just do the Yangtze River. They're going to want to see the Great Wall. They're going to want to see all the other attractions that they've thought about on their bucket list. So we are that dual function cruise line and tour operator.
Well, I like your description as a 36-year-old startup, which
I
is
do too.
it actually when I first saw your team down at Sea Trade this year, and I'm like, I know the company, but I really don't know the company. It's so much different. And as you said, you're also a tour operator, and you're doing pre and post all over the place. So it's really a comprehensive product. If our travel advisors, if they have clients going over there. Now let's turn to the next question, and we'll just get into the hardware stuff. Now let's start with you, Rob. How many ships do you have now, and where are they sailing, and what rivers, regions, destinations?
James, we have 30 custom-built ships that sail the legendary rivers of the world. As I mentioned a moment ago, we sail throughout Europe, Southeast Asia, Egypt, South Africa, Colombia, South America, all the rivers in France, the Douro River, of course, Portugal, and what have you. And then again, we started in April of this year with our very first ship, the Ama Magdalena, on the Magdalena River in Colombia, South America. Later this fall, she'll be joined by a second ship on the Magdalena River, the Ama Melodia. So we're always looking for new and exciting destinations to travel to. Our guest team to really enjoy going from one to the next. The Rhine, the Main, the Danube is certainly the sweet spot without question. That's where you're going to find most of our ships, most of the product. But we're starting to see an uptick in other destinations as well. One that's jumped out to us recently. There's several, but one is our Gems of Southeast Europe, which is the lower Danube, right? So as guests continue to really find river cruising and they see what a wonderful experience it is, as they look for other options, they look for more exciting and unique destinations. Our Mekong sailings are in high demand, very popular right now as well. And we're seeing a tremendous uptick in Egypt as well. So it really is. All signs are pointing very positively these days.
Well, I was lucky enough a couple of years ago to go on your lower Danube cruise with Alex Pinello, and we had a great time. That was my 22 days on the Danube with AmaWaterways and Alex, and it was quite an experience. I was part of the Asta River Cruise Expo, and it opened my eyes to the lower Danube. And of course, I'm still waiting to get to Colombia, so I gotta get going. That's amazing. I've been watching that develop, but it's really AmaWaterways really is a great company, as all the folks here today. Let's talk to Steve about Century, and tell us a little bit about what those ships are and where they go.
Yeah, well, as much as Rob is complex and offers you almost every day destination, I'm going to take a complex destination of China and we're going to simplify it as a one-stop shop for you in China. So at the moment, that is where Century Cruises operates, is on the Yangtze River. But as I mentioned before, we do cruise tours associated with that will get your clients to the bucket list places in China they've always wanted to go to. And in fact, the cruise is always sandwiched in the middle and it's sold as a single cruise tour tour, that you will earn commission on the entire program, not just on the cruise portion, and have a lower commission on the land part. So it's actually a cruise tour as opposed to pre and post destinations. We do operate 6 ships. All are relatively brand new. 4 of the 6 were actually built since 2019.
That's
The thing
amazing.
that would
That was something I didn't realize, that they were that new and that much upscale. It was, we really hadn't paid attention since pre-COVID to what was going on.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is when you think of a river ship, you think of about 1 to 200 passengers, because in Europe you have these bridges that you have to contend to. Well, in China, the bridges are much taller. So our river ships are much like a very small, luxurious ocean-going vessel. They're about 500 guests.
Mm.
And so they're much larger than you would typically associate with that. We build our own ships, by the way. We own the shipyards. We build the ships ourselves. And as we said, we make that difficult destination to sell of China a very simple destination for you, because we become that one-stop shop. And I'll just leave you with a little teaser that while China is our only destination at the moment, we do actually have some other destinations forthcoming. And we are actually, I think it's been out that we are looking at Egypt and looking at Europe and some other
Yeah,
possible
I
things.
did hear that. So you're going to get a little more complex in a few years.
Exactly, yes.
Well, great to hear all that from you, Steve. And it is a new line for many of us. And indeed, Marilyn, a few years ago, your company was a new line, at least to the U.S. market, as you said.
U.S. market, yeah.
It's been well established in the U.K. and in European circles. But tell us a little bit about the what ships you have and where you operate.
Okay. Well, we have 13 beautiful riverboats, and they are built and operated by Skiller, which is a preeminent boat builder in Europe. They actually build the boats of a luxury competitor, so you'll find that they are basically identical. We operate on the 10 main European waterways, only in Europe. But what we do to differentiate ourselves from a lot of our competitors is we tweak our itineraries so that they are far more immersive, so that the clients really, really get to experience the destination. For instance, we do the Black Sea cruise right the way to the end of the Danube Delta. A lot of people don't go right to the end. And the reason why that's a big deal is because it's the 3rd largest World Heritage Site, third only to the Galapagos and the Great Barrier Reef. So it's something that's really, really worth seeing. Our cruises range in length from 4 nights all the way up to 29 nights. The 4-nighters are usually the Christmas markets at the end of the season and the Dutch Belfields at the beginning of the season. So the majority of the cruises, though, are 7, 10, and 14 nights. And of course, now these wonderful land tours where you can discover for a week the Italian lakes and combine it with a river cruise. So that's something new for us.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really a great fleet. And as you said, I walked through one of your competitors' ships that was built also by Skilla, and I actually thought I was in your ship. It went back and forth. It was always difficult. They are really identical in many ways, but and then we're going to talk about positioning, about where you guys are in the market. But it is a great product, all modern, all fairly new. I mean,
very one of the youngest fleet of ships, and it's really funny because when we were at the Asta River Cruise Convention, somebody that was on our ship was trying to get into the vessel next door because they're identical, and they couldn't understand why they couldn't get in. And sorry, madam, you're on the wrong ship.
I had that problem.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. They weren't banging on your door saying,
"No, it wasn't
my cabin,"
me.
right? So no, it's a great thing. And of course, then the last thing I think about your ships, they're all named after famous British authors and literary.
That's right.
Which is,
except for the 3 new ones. The 3 new ones, we're putting our brand smack center on them because we really want to get acknowledged in North America. So that's why the rose is on the door. It takes Riviera Rose, Riviera Radiance, Riviera Resplendence.
Oh, I kind of like, being on the Geoffrey Chaucer. I mean,
well, that's a beautiful ship too.
They're all great. Wordsworth, I've been in those. So anyway, great company. And I guess that's it for now, right? For all that we've done, we've carried all the ships and where they're sailing. Let's talk a little bit about how each of your river cruise products are positioned in the market. I'm talking about what are you, luxury, premium, whatever, contemporary, and why. So I'm going to start with you, Rob. Where does AmaWaterways fit in this kind of self-imposed designation of the categories, that we all kind of grew up with in cruising?
Yeah, James, excuse me. It's a great question, and our guests, when they refer to the AmaWaterways brand and product, they certainly refer to us as a luxury river cruise line. Marilyn and I had the opportunity. We were on a different call about a week ago, and this topic came up as well, and I believe the term luxury is defined by the individual. Right? My definition of luxury might be different than yours and Steve's and Marilyn's. But we define our product first and foremost by the incredible staff and crew and the service they deliver our guests. Their number one objective is to exceed the expectations of our guests without question. The other aspect of it, we are committed, as I shared at the introduction, we're committed to innovation. And so we look for ways to continue to be an industry leader and to innovate. Our sustainable ship designs are very, very important to us. Sustainability, Christine, James,
Yep.
sustainability is the heartbeat of Rudy, Christine, and certainly other members of our executive team. We also set ourselves a bit apart because we tend to focus a bit more on wellness. Whether your clients want to, our guests want to continue with their exercise regimen with yoga, Pilates, stretch classes, they can do that while they sail with AmaWaterways. And because of that, we tend to skew a little bit younger than some of our friendly competitors. At minimum, younger at heart for sure. And then when you start to talk about food, we're just very humbled. We were honored to be invited to become members of Le Chender Tisseur. That sets the bar pretty high right there. Rudy's very committed to that locally sourced, fresh cuisine. So those are all things that we believe tend to differentiate us from some of the other river cruise lines that are out there. And certainly we have when we talk about innovation, some of the things that we have really focused on of late, several years ago, I should say, we started our wine-themed cruises.
Right.
Fast forward to today, we've got beer-themed cruises. We have wellness-themed cruises. We have our soulful experience cruises, which focus on Black heritage in the destination. These are all things where, again, we focused on that innovation and believe we are a true pioneer when it comes to the river cruise sector.
Well, I have to tell you, one of my favorite activities on those wellness cruises was the champagne yoga. Although what my version of it was sitting there drinking champagne and watching everyone else do yoga.
So James, I got to share this with you, right? My wife, when she went on her first AmaWaterways river cruise, she saw champagne yoga as an activity. I've never seen my wife do yoga a day in her life. Guess who's up at 7 a.m. ready for yoga?
Yeah, it's a great incentive. Great incentive. I tell you, I joke with Christine. I said, I can watch people do yoga with champagne as long as you want. It's great. But that's great. That was one. So let me turn to you, Marilyn, about how you position Riviera, because quite frankly, I think you've raised that positioning in the last few years.
Yes.
Because we didn't know the company as well a few years back. But talk a little bit about where you position Riviera today.
Well, we position ourselves as the top of the premium line,
Okay.
but our tagline is less than premium prices. But it's important to note, James, how we have evolved as a product. And I know it sounds a bit like a cliche, oh, we listen to our clients, but we really, really do. So the initial product, even though it was good, it needed tweaking in order to really be embraced as it is now by the North American marketplace.
Right.
So We are an extremely inclusive line. We have very spacious cabins. Like Rob said, the maximum or average capacity on the Longship is 167 guests. And that's important to note because a lot of the river cruises take significantly more people. So because we have so much space, we have very spacious cabins and a lot of public features which our clients enjoy. So we are also very, very inclusive in terms of the shore excursions, not just one shore excursion every day, multiple shore excursions. That's an improvement that we've made relatively recently over the past year.
And of course, you are you are a tour operator too, so you're running those.
Yes, yeah. So we have multiple shore excursions that are included in the price, and some that you can purchase if you want that are additional. But we've raised the bar, no pun intended, because like everybody else, we include wine, beer, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. But this year, in 2025, from 6 p.m. until midnight, we include virtually an open bar. So we like to say we give you 6 hours of a happy hour, and you don't even have to buy the first drink. But next year, it's from 10 a.m. until midnight. So here you have this product now that has evolved to giving you spacious cabins, fantastic food and service because it's provided by Skiller. We know that that's a preeminent company. Included shore excursions, obviously food, wine, and the open bar. So we are very, very inclusive at an extremely competitive price.
No, that's great. And I certainly watched that product evolve since you've been there. You're the reason I was there anyway. Just to put the icing on the cake, we've got a 4.6 Trustpilot score. And that's something we're very, very proud of because it's extremely high. Fantastic. Now I'm going to turn to Century and Steve. I had not, as I said, I knew about the company, but when I saw the presentation, I didn't realize the word luxury was used often during the presentation. But where are you positioned as? In a way, you don't have much of competition in the market, but where do you position Century Cruises?
Yeah, and we don't typically think of China as being a destination for luxury travelers, but it absolutely is, both on board our ships and the hotels we use.
Sure.
We make sure that when we're doing these cruise tours that you don't just have like a 5-star luxury experience for 4 days on our ship and then you go off into a hotel in Beijing and Shanghai and Xi'an and now all of a sudden you're in a 4-star hotel like actually some of our competitors offer. We are staying in Shangri-La hotels, JW Marriott's along that brand. So it's definitely a very upscale 5-star experience on land and on board the ships. Because of the size of our ships, again, if you notice, I'm on the deck here of one of our ships, and there's 3 decks going up behind me, and there's 3 decks below me. We're actually 6 decks tall. So that allows us to, in turn, offer a lot of additional amenities that you wouldn't maybe typically think of on a river cruise. And in fact, if you book the upper stateroom categories, you actually have access to a separate dining room, a VIP dining room. There's a separate concierge lounge for guests in those suites. Mm-hmm. So we have the ability to even elevate that luxury aspect even more for clients that are a little bit more discerning. Mm-hmm. So along those lines, definitely China can be absolutely a very fantastic destination. And to Rob's point earlier, luxury means different things for different people. For us, one of the things that we really emphasize is that destination immersion. China is a destination with all the culture and the history that you really have to get immersed into that destination. And that's what we really aim to do for our guests as that one-stop shop. And that's also part of the luxury, right? Is being able to make a single purchase as a travel advisor, recommend a single supplier, and we take care of everything. Even the meals are included on the land portion of our trips.
That's pretty good. And as you said, China really is an upscale. You talk about the level of hotels you have in China now. We kind of tend to be 10 years or 20 years behind the times because maybe many of us don't go to China all the time. But boy, every time I turn around, they're building another luxury hotel in China. And so it goes to reason, it stands to reason that your company, Century, would have to offer that. Now, do you also cater to Chinese guests?
Yes. And so that's a good point, James. We have 6 ships, as I mentioned, and we're actually dedicating our newest ship to the North American market. So we're pushing all of the English speaking staff. We're going to adapt the menus on board that ship so that the North American guests, when they're traveling with us, will be around other North American guests and have obviously a Chinese experience, but with the comfort of English speaking staff and the menu items like that.
My point also would have been that the Chinese like luxury too, so it better be high standard if you're a Chinese guest or from North America. So it is, it's kind of common. They all want to travel in luxury. So let's talk a little bit about now. A key point, and I'm going to start with you, Rob, about how should travel advisors be selling your river cruises? Who should they target for your cruises, and who's going to be, most pleased with being on board?
So James, that's a great question. And in every conversation we start with the relationship that we have with travel advisors and travel agencies. We truly do rely on them to position, to promote, to sell, to market the AmaWaterways brand. And so the relationship we share is very important. There are so many different options, as I mentioned just a moment ago, right? So certainly when you talk about an inclusive experience, as Steve touched on, we're focused on the cultural immersion in the destinations, the history, traditions, the food, the wine, the cuisine, etc., history. It really is about people that are looking for that inclusive experience. I had the opportunity, had the privilege to sit on a panel. And it was several months ago, and on either side of me, it was focused on Europe. There was a destination management company on one side and a tour operator on the other. Their overarching message to the advisors in the audience was book shoulder season because our 5-star hotels are extremely expensive. Our 4-star hotels are charging 5-star prices. When you look at a river cruise, a 7-night river cruise that offers your all of your shore excursions are included, all your meals aboard the ship, beer, wine, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner. We wrap this up in a pretty little package for our travel advisors, for their clients, and we pay really handsome commissions. So for your question about who should they be targeting, you're looking for people that you really want to create that seamless experience for, but then we segue into wine themed cruises, wellness, soulful, all the other areas that I mentioned just a moment ago. So many different options, so many different destinations. We just hope the travel advisors are thinking AmaWaterways when it comes to positioning the river cruise experience.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm going to turn to Steve and say, who should travel advisors be targeting for Century? Who are the types of clients who really will enjoy this? And obviously, it may be people who have done a lot in other rivers, and this is another river to sail on. I know that certainly for me, I've never done the Yangtze, and it would be, and obviously there are other rivers in the world that I want to go on, but Yangtze is there and always has been. We haven't really been talking about it for a few years now, post-COVID and everything else, but who is the best person to target now for your cruises?
Yeah, the magic of the Yangtze, James, is really the Three Gorges area, and it kind of rhymes with gorgeous, and it really is absolutely a stunning area to go through. And on the section of the Yangtze River that we sail on, that's exactly where you're going to. And then actually the place where you get off of the vessel at the end of your cruise before you continue your land tour is the Three Gorges Dam, which many people may recall is the world's largest earth movement project ever on the history of the planet. And so you actually get to see that. You get to ride down a ship elevator while you're there. But yes, you're absolutely correct. We will see definitely some river cruisers that have been in Europe, other destinations, moving over and wanting to do the Yangtze River. That being said, we will also get a lot of non-cruisers. When I do a presentation, I start out by selling China first as a destination and explaining why you need to go to China, and then showing that we are the easiest way for you to recommend China to your clients. It's a complicated destination, and we can make that very simple for the travel advisor. So it's people that are looking for history. As we all know, China has a lot of history associated with it. So history buffs. Candidly, our shortest cruise tour is 2 weeks. Our longest is 19 days. So these are retired people or people with a lot of time. You're not going to get people that are just taking a week and going to China. You just can't do that. So it's definitely with people that have a lot of time on their hands. We do sell cruise only, but again, no one's going to go from North America and do that. Japan has been a hugely popular destination. So people that have traveled to Japan, traveled to Vietnam, China is a next logical step for them as well. And so it's really destination driven a lot. And that interest in exploring that new destination, and then we can do that in an easy way. That's really who our travelers are. And obviously travelers are looking for that upscale way of doing that.
No, it seems that is really who they should target. People are experienced travelers looking for new destinations and really want to discover China, not just a river. So that's a great idea. Now, last but not least on this topic, Marilyn, who should travel advisors be targeting to sell
Well,
you?
obviously, Rob and Steven have given some great examples, but essentially, we always say anybody who would be inclined to go on a land tour. To me, they are prime prospects because, to use the old cliche, for only one reason, packing and unpacking only once, but also ocean cruise liners, because a lot of blue water cruisers have been on most of the major, like Mediterranean or European waterways. But as we like to say, ocean cruises take you to the country, whereas river cruises take you actually to the destination. So it's people who are looking to do more immersive, to actually get into the country and explore it with literally just having a floating hotel where you can step off the riverboat and you're right downtown wherever you want to be, Vienna, whatever it is. So it's people that land tours and obviously ocean cruise liners. But, more so than that, if you take a look at what Europe is costing now, a decent hotel, $600, $700, $800, $900 a night. And as Rob pointed out, look at what you get with the river cruise. You get everything included. So it is actually a very good value for money that you're taking a river cruise versus taking, the land tours where not so much is included.
Absolutely. Well, that's all good points. And so we've reached the final question, and I'm going to ask, sort of summarize it. It's what resources, training, and education do you have for advisors to make them successful sellers of your product? And then if you can include some contact information of where they should reach out to. I'll start with you, Rob.
Sure. So your one-stop shop for everything AmaWaterways is our travel advisor portal. You can find it at www.amawaterways.com. Simply register if you haven't done so and log in. James, there our valued partners can find our recorded and award-winning webinar Wednesdays. So all of that fantastic marketing collateral, digital assets, and I'm biased, I admit that freely, but I think we've got the best marketing team in the business. They've created these toolkits. There are probably 2 to 3 dozen of them that have everything a travel advisor could want right in one area. And it shows them the river, the destination, the specialty cruise. It provides them with customizable marketing flyers, social media posts, things that they can use right there at their fingertips. That is absolutely amazing. Our AMA Academy as well is something that provide, a lot of suppliers out there these days kind of look at their specialist program as a master's degree course. At AmaWaterways, ours is educational, but it's also entertaining, it's fun, and you can complete it typically in 2 to 3 hours max, not 6 months. But make no mistake, a couple of things. Number one, our travel advisory portal does not replace your business development manager. Our business development managers are your go-to resource for everything that you need to actively sell, promote, market, and learn all about AmaWaterways. One of the unique things about our sales team is we focus, if you're in a particular destination, you're a hosted, I should say, a particular state, and your host is 6 states away, you have local representation with a local BDM in that market. It's not where the host is located, it's where the advisor is located. So that's something we take great pride in delivering, just incredible and personalized service at the BDM level. But the portal, again, will provide insight into FAMS, our co-branded website, which is a great resource for advisors to use as well, and provides additional information on some of the partnerships we have out there, including our recently announced partnership with Smithsonian Journeys.
Great. All right, so that's where you go to amawaterways.com, and there is the portal there, right? It's very easy. Now, let me turn to Steve for Century Cruises. Where can travel advisors find out more to get about resources, training, and education, and what do you have?
Well, you're looking at them.
Oh, the man. There you go.
Yes. So, I mentioned earlier we're a 36-year-old startup, and actually, you're all very savvy to be here at this conference and listening to this panel because you are at the forefront of learning about Century Cruises. We literally have yet, as the recording of this, have yet to actually open a call center yet. So we are laying the foundations. Unlike Rob, I do not have a portal. Unlike Rob, I do not have BDMs. So that's why I joked that I am your resource. That being said, that's literally what I mean. I have been to China 4 times since I interviewed for this job a year ago. I have been on our land product. I've been on our ship product. I have experienced it personally. I have literally overnight become a China expert and a Century Cruises expert from firsthand knowledge. And because we are in the startup mode, we don't have a portal yet. Yes, we're developing it. I've done recorded webinars. I can link you to that. I can do all of that. But mostly what I can do is when you have a client that calls you and asks you about China and you're like a deer in the headlights, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? You call me and I can walk you through it. I can help guide you to the right cruise tour. And yes, we'll eventually have an inside salesperson and BDMs and all that, and we'll be able to help you. But do not be afraid of the destination. I am here to hold your hand and make a complicated destination simple and take a complicated destination and turn that into a closed sale for you. So reach out to me by email. It's my first initial and last name at centurycruise.com. There's no S in that. So it's SSIMAO at Century Cruise. And I will be glad to give you personalized service myself.
Yeah, I already made that mistake once, Steve. So, and you didn't get the Zoom link, but so centurycruise.com, no S, and just send it to Steve, and Steve will take care of you. Let's turn last but not least, and I wanted her to close it out because I know she can. Marilyn, what resources and training and education do you have for advisors? And give us some contact information about how they can reach you and all your team.
Okay, well, we've certainly come a long way, not just in the product, but in the way we support our valued travel partners. Last week, we just announced our Explorer, our Riviera Explorer, which is our online e-learning center. We have over 40 modules which talk about every river in detail, every ship in detail, what's to do, what's to see. To be honest, it's about a 4-hour course. But there's 3 levels: freshman, senior, and graduate. And it will really give you everything you needed to know about selling Riviera Travel. It goes into all facets. It includes our solo departures, because we have cruises exclusively with no single supplement. It goes into detail about our wonderful group policy with the TC of 1 for 7. The 8th person is free. So it covers really every aspect. So you've got that, which is just launched. On Thursday, yay, we are launching a brand new website. The website that we currently have is okay, but is a little difficult to navigate. This new one is going to be absolutely state of the art. You can make bookings online. You've got agency toolkits that you can access there for group or retail promotions. You can even book online. It's really it's going to be, I think it's going to be a game changer for us. But also, as far as the sales directors are concerned, we've just hired this last year 3 more. So we're growing our outside sales organization radically. And just like Rob said, any one of our sales directors can help one of our travel partners. It doesn't matter where they're located or the agency is located. We're one team. There's no I in the team. So if your host agency is located in Cleveland, but you happen to be located in I don't know, Detroit, any salesperson will be able to help you. And again, I would encourage always participate if possible on our webinars. Right now we do about 2 webinars, our own webinars a month, and we always focus on something different. It could be how to develop group business. The one coming up this Thursday is going to talk about Riviera in general, but specifically target learning about 2 rivers, the Douro and the Danube. We take 2 different rivers, every other month. So basically, it's online, www.rivercruises.com. And from there, you can get your learning portal. And again, please participate in our webinars because I think they're enjoyable. We're told they're enjoyable and very informative.
Okay, just to clarify, is the URL for your new website the same as RivieraRiverCruises.com?
Yeah, Riviera Travel.
That's right. That's what I thought, because your parent company is RivieraTravel.com.
Riviera Travel. We're just moving away from saying river cruises because we offer a lot more than river cruises.
Absolutely.
We also have yachts.
Wow.
5 yachts, 5 beautiful yachts. I forgot to mention them.
That's a whole other panel. We'll be talking
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll talk about that's okay. Well, Marilyn, Steve, Rob, always great to see you, and thank you for spending the time with us on this great panel on river cruises. We learned about some things that I don't think many of you know, both as Riviera emerges in the market and Century basically is a startup. And of course, AMA has been one of the great river cruises that starting all this. They're introducing so many more products now. So I want to thank you again for participating, and we'll see you at some point at conferences in the future. And I also would be remiss if I didn't urge everyone to go down to the virtual trade show floor and go take a look at each of the booths of these companies, even more information and more contacts, so you can learn even more about river cruising down there. Again, thank you so much, and we'll see you.
Thank you. Be well.
Thank you.
I'm James Shillinglaw for Insider Travel Report and Virtual Roadshows Selling Cruise Vacations.